name's Jackie Simak, and I'm a retired sergeant with the Larimer County Sheriff's Office. And right here I have with me Canine Negan, who's a retired canine from the Larimer County Sheriff's Office. Negan is about 8 years old. His birthday is coming up in August, and he served with the Larimer County Sheriff's Office for about 6 years. And as far as his breed goes, he may look like a German Shepherd, but he's half German Shepherd. He's also half Belgian Malinois. Negan is a drug dog. He had many busts, I guess you would call them, on the street. He worked with me every shift. He rode with me in the back of my truck, and when a deputy or someone in the jail needed a drug dog, they would call for me, and I would deploy Negan on a drug sniff. More than likely, they were sniffs of a vehicle where the deputy felt as though the person in the vehicle probably had drugs in the car. So I would deploy Negan on a sniff of the vehicle, and if there were drugs in the vehicle or the odor of drugs in the vehicle, Negan would indicate by doing what is called a point. Now, in typical hunting dogs, a point you would see in like say a German Shepherd pointer would be a point where you would see them lift their paw off the ground and point. Negan's point was a little different than that. He would stop and stare, but then he would do a little dance, and he would stop and stare, and then he would back up and he'd kind of wiggle his butt a little bit. And so there really wasn't a terminology for that, because what he was called was a passive indicator. And passive indication means the dog would sit, stare, lay down, or point. And there was nothing to put his category in there as a little dance. So we would say that he was pointing. But it was a indication nonetheless, and he was one of the best drug dogs on the team in my opinion. However, a little black Labrador named Raven would give him a run for his money. She was one of the best drug dogs on the team, and the two of them actually had a crush on one another and would chase each other around the training area or whatnot. But I would say Negan and Raven were the best drug dogs on the team. When I first got Negan, we were getting pictures taken with the team, and all of the dogs were obedient and laid down and looked pretty and everything, but Negan he just would sit, and I would tell him to lay down. We have the Dutch word for that, for oft. His native language is Hungarian, so maybe that's why he wasn't ofting or laying down, but he refused to lay down. All he would do is sit, so I guess he felt like he looked better looking, and who knows, by sitting. But that was one of the funny stories that I remember about him. Another funny story about Negan is that most dogs, when they kiss, they use their tongue. But Negan liked to use his teeth, and so he always intimidated a lot of people when he would try to kiss them, because he would use his teeth. So what we used to call it was bite kissing. So when he would jump up, instead of using his tongue, he would use his tongue and then also give you a little nibble. And it wasn't to be aggressive or malicious or anything. I guess he just felt like he was giving you a little extra, I guess. A while ago, Police Canine Magazine reached out to us and wanted to focus on the Larimer County Sheriff's Office Canine Unit, and which I thought was great. So they had us write an article about our unit, and they had us take pictures of our unit, and we were premiered on the Canine magazine, and they wanted to spotlight this handsome gentleman on the front of their magazine. And so I thought it was pretty cool and wanted to share it. And inside Canine magazine is a spotlight on the Larimer County Sheriff's Canine Unit, and it talks about all of our dogs, our jail dogs and our drug dogs and our patrol dogs. And it's just really cool that we got to be featured inside a publication that is distributed all across the world and is read by all types of police departments and canine units. So yeah, just thought that was pretty neat, and that Canine Negan was spotlighted on the front of the magazine. Well, Negan and I retired from the sheriff's office at the same time. I'd been involved in a shooting and felt at that time that my time was up, and that's okay. And on the day of that shooting, I went back to my truck and I opened up Negan's door, and he popped his head out. And if dogs could smile, that day he did. And he licked me. And tell you what, he may give bite kisses, but he never licks my face. He doesn't lick anybody. And he licked my face and almost in a way to tell me it's okay. And so we retired shortly after that time. And it's been great ever since. And he needed to retire as well. So since he retired, I was able to adopt him into my family. And he's now become great friends with my 3 other dogs, in particular a little Chihuahua that seems to be his best friend in a weird way. Not because of the fact that he's a Chihuahua, but just because this is a police dog. Being friends with the Chihuahua is kind of odd in my opinion, but that's okay. Since I've adopted him, he's led a really good life. However, about 5 months ago, we found out that he had cancer. And about a month ago, we found out that it had metastasized. We've had great care through the Wellington Veterinary Clinic, and we've had great care through the CSU Veterinary Hospital Oncology Unit. The vets who have been working on Negan have taken this experience of working on a police dog in a different way, because they don't get to work on a police dog every day. So I think they think it's pretty cool. And if it wasn't for the Retired Canine Foundation, I don't know how I would be able to do it. All of these cancer treatments, especially going to the CU Vet Hospital and paying for the treatment there, I don't know how I'd be able to do it, afford it, and just get through this really emotional time as well. The fact that I had a retired canine and had a retired canine for a long period of time, the Larimer Retired Canine Foundation paid for Negan's food and paid for just random veterinary checkups. So that was a blessing. He has to now be on a particular kind of food now that he has cancer, so that's been a blessing as well. Furthermore, it's nice to see that they're out in the community promoting police canines. It's nice to see that they're out there speaking with other agencies, such as the Fort Collins Police Department, talking about the Retired Canine Foundation. I would like to see police agencies that have canine units have their own Retired Canine Foundation, because these canine handlers, they cannot handle their canines that retire on their own as far as it comes to monetary. They need to be able to afford their retired canines, and to do it on their own is impossible. So each police department needs to have their own canine foundation to be able to pay for, especially if their dogs get cancer, some type of lifelong disease that's going to affect their pocketbook for a really long period of time. And in closing, I've been a canine handler for 20 years, and it's the best job in the world. I've handled 4 dogs. I've had 2 of them lose their lives unexpectedly. I consider cancer unexpectedly because he's only 8 years old. I love Barb Bennett, and I want to thank her for everything she's done to make our dogs' lives comfortable. And that's all I have to say, but thank you.